Good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to Western Cinema Presents Open Range, starring Kevin Costner. Um, Kevin Costner and Robert Duvall,
And Robert Duvall.
Annette Bening, Michael Gavin, Michael Jester, Diego Luna in his very early role, James Russo, Abraham Banterbury, and many others. We have played this one before. I just thought it'd be fun to revisit it again because it's a good film, and because I couldn't, I had no, don't have currently have access to the one that we were going to do. What would you like to say, deleted?
All right. Well, like I said, it's from 2003. We've done this movie before. It's a good one. It's based on a novel by a guy named Lauren Payne. Movie makes some slight alterations to it, but not much. Um, about a basically some free grazers who are going through this, going past this town where the this guy's basically installed himself as mayor, effectively, I guess you could say. This guy's kind of taken over the town and decides that he's going to send his goons to try and run him off, and hilarity ensues.
Yeah.
So, um, runtime is 2 hours in 19 minutes. You can follow along with us on Cosme. The link is at the top of both chats.
Yep. And as much as would love to bring you to these here on YouTube, we are restricted by copyright law and the guidelines of YouTube. So we don't want to be sued or get in trouble. So we do offer a screening room, and another good source is always Tubi or Pluto. A lot of content on those streaming platforms. I want to say hello to Poe. Good to see you. Connie Clary, strong supporter of both of our channels. We appreciate you, Connie. And Jedi Master 2022 Lost in Space in classic sci-fi. Groovy. So if you want to click on this link and we will begin our feature. All right, here we go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
Starting with the Touchtone Pictures logo.
This is one of the first pictures I saw Dea de Laguna. You know, he's in that Star Wars series now, Andor.
Yep.
his career really took off after this film. He was also in the Netflix series Narcos Mexico. I'd have to say this is probably the second best Western for Kevin Costner and Robert Duvall's all-time best Westerns. That's just my personal opinion.
And of course, Teague is also the name of Kevin Costner's production company. Eh. Ah. All right.
Button cheating already. There's just some really great cinematography here in this.
Oh, indeed.
Who would have thought the outside world could be so vast and without no signs of civilization? The rest of the horses.
Your friends get you in trouble.
Mhm. We're cheating. Cheat neck.
All right, so we're entering town, and we're getting our first look at the town folk that we're going to be seeing throughout the film. kind of Harmonville. We're seeing an addiction of Michael Jeter. Oh, I reckon it wasn't. This Harry Potter prequel is weird.
How dare you call it a Harry Potter? He's a waster. Yeah, I doubt that.
Whoopsie.
That's a big guy to be busted up like that.
Yeah, well,
Can't say I don't blame him. His house doubles as a hospital. That's one incredibly nice doctor.
mhm.
Imagine getting a doctor like that today. I think there's all types of regulations that kind of prevent that. Right. That is a lot of greenery.
Making an attempt to look frightening.
Mm-hmm.
And hello to Curtis Selby.
Hey, Curtis.
Gorilla's Censored Thoughts.
What's up, Gorilla? Good to have you with us.
Hey. Stay safe out there in the storm area, man. Cosme link is at the top of the chat. Please join us there.
We're exactly, our
Yeah.
timestamp is 32:43.
Excuse me. Of course, here you start to see a couple of familiar faces. Julian Richings usually plays bad guys. Canadian character actor, Ian Tracy, who I first saw way back in the early 80s is like a kid actor. He played Huckleberry Finn in this Tom Sawyer TV series that ran on Showtime.
Oh, ouch. You want to take that over?
This is almost a horror movie, this part.
He said hump the dirt.
Or maybe we do it now. Because this is the first inkling that maybe Charlie's the crazy one, you know? Of course, they come back and they're too late. Yeah.
Now, this is the crime of all crimes. The dog. What did the dog do? It just barked. How dare them? They went and done it now. They killed the dog. You killed the dog. We're going to kill you.
Right. Oh, wait, what? Because we're living in a wagon down by the river. Charlie is not all right.
Where the hell should I stand then?
All right.
Which side did he fight for, the North or the South?
He never really says,
Yeah.
but when he makes the statement, we were shooting guys who weren't even in uniform, that sounds like Night Watch. And those were the guys who, they were Southerners, but it was mostly kind of about not necessarily fighting the war. They were stealing land. I mean, there were Northerners who were doing that too, but, the history books are written by the winners,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now I am merely stating something that is fact. My family came to this country after the Civil War. So to me, it's history. I don't have a dog in that hunt, But Arlington National Cemetery is on property that used to be owned by Robert E. Lee. And his house is still up on the hill there. I know, because I've seen it. And that was because after the war, he had to surrender his land. The Federals took it. So, both sides were involved in, grabbing up land after the war. And hello to the Clue Studio.
Hello, Clue Studio.
We are watching Open Range. We're 49 minutes in. We're basically just into the second act here. And Bill, you brought up first that this was the first time you had seen Diego Luna in a movie.
Yeah.
The first time I'd seen him was in a Spanish language movie called Y tu mamá también.
The second film I saw him in was with Tom Hanks in the Terminal.
I never saw The Terminal. Have you ever seen Ryan George's pitch meeting video for John Wick?
No.
He gets to the point with the dog, right? He says, okay, they better not hurt that dog now. And then they kill his dog.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody better die for that. Oh, don't worry, sir. They will. John Wick is going to go and kill every man who works for the father of the guy who killed the dog. You go, oh, really? How many? High 70s. Oh, my God.
Yeah. When you kill somebody's dog, I mean, that's the ultimate sin. You just don't do it. You don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to be with Screen Rant, but he broke off from them. He does his own thing now, which I think is best. He don't need Screen Rant. That guy's doing good all by himself. Yeah, I love the pitch meeting videos. They're hilarious. I wish he did more of them. But those take a while to edit, I would think. All right, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Yeah. Hmm.
There goes your bridge.
Whoops.
Ah, looks like you're going to go waiting, Charlie.
Oh, that ain't half of it. Oh, look out. Sorry. Puppy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is good because this is the first thing that ingratiates them to the town folk.
Down
That
people, yeah.
they stopped and saved the dog here. It's another Canadian-based actor is Peter MacNeil, who I first saw again in the 80s, maybe early 90s, in a show called Captain Power. It was a kind of a Power Rangers for teenagers, I guess you could say. A little darker, you know.
You know, he mentioned the town of Gunnison, Colorado. So I think this might be somewhere near or around Colorado.
Yeah. Mhm.
Charlie is like, "Oh yeah, I don't think so, man."
He's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you chickened out, Marshall.
Oh yeah.
said, get my big ass finger in the finger hole.
Okay.
Greetings to Coda's Fact Search. It is a good one. We've done this one before. Got revisiting it. Can join us on Cosmo me. Link is at the top of the chat. We are 1 hour, 7 minutes, 55 seconds into the film. About halfway or so.
Yeah.
Canadians, open fire! Okay.
Good day to you, Kadesh. Back search.
And China set dies. Meanwhile, in the saloon. Yep, look out.
Dude, read the room.
Ain't nothing better than an old pistol whipping. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Nope.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Off topic. You know my end of the Gunsmoke Return to Dodge?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it got deleted. And I didn't delete it. That's 1,000+ views gone.
Weird. I don't know how that happened.
Wait a minute. Well, hold on. When I go to live, it's there. When I go to playlists, hold on. Yeah, when I go to my playlist, it's gone, but when I go to live, it is there. So I don't know. Maybe I just got to reset it. It's weird. I've never seen that happen before. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. YouTube is funny sometimes, folks.
I see it. I see it. It's still there. 6 days ago, 507 views.
No, the other one. The first one.
Oh.
No, it is. No, it's back. What the fuck? Hold on. It said deleted a second ago.
Deleted is getting deleted. It is not
Son
me.
of a bitch.
I swear.
That's weird. That was weird because it said
Weird,
that's
weird,
back
weird.
now, but what the fuck? Oh, all right. Back to the movie, folks. I'm sorry.
Strange.
Shit, that scared me for a second. It's concerning because, folks, if you lose like that many views off of a video and just have it disappear like that, that hurts your channel. That's just one of those things you got to look out for, you know?
Yeah, because I have to delete things that we record from the studio, StreamYard studio all the time, but I usually let them stay up on YouTube and everything else
Oh yeah, I don't delete
because
a video off
we're
YouTube.
we're
No.
only we're only allowed 50 hours of recordings, and then
Yeah.
if you can't stream or do recording until you delete your or utilize the space that you have available, unless you pay more for.
Hmm.
And that's something we can't do.
This is good here. This is the whole. Oh wait, she's available. Okay, And not Antonio Banderas is still knocked out.
You mean he's dollar store Antonio Banderas,
Mhm.
who later became more famous.
Mhm. Pretty lady, yeah. And she got Warren Beatty to chill out after all those years.
Open
How
Range
is
is
this
one of those
being
movies that you must
annoying?
have in your physical media. Yeah, if you can have it on DVD or Blu-ray, or I don't know if they have a steelbook, but definitely worthwhile to have in your collection, in your library. You can't play that fiddle for damn. That was as eerie as somebody running their fingers down the chalkboard.
Yeah.
Town folk getting the hell out of Dodge.
They always say that in every movie. It's near France, I think. Somebody saw Knight's Tale.
Them cigars are illegal. I guess. Oh, that's not from the years. You could hide and watch. This is definitely within the top 10 all time great westerns.
He is not in this movie long, but damn, he makes it count when he does. Doesn't he?
Yeah. You might recognize him. He was in Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy, yeah. And,
World, another Kevin Costner film.
because through the whole movie, you don't see him really until this point, until he rides into
Right.
town. You know, and all you've heard is basically his rep. You know, Baxter did this, Baxter's done that, and then it's finally, oh, holy shit, it's Baxter. You know, he's here. You know, yeah. Lupane. Yeah. What? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, whatever.
It's locked.
And yes, I counted the dog. Best kill of the movie right here. Oh! What would Clint Eastwood do? There you go. How are you crawling? And besides, people are looking.
Mm.
Hello to Big Al Presents.
Yeah, Big Al.
We're in the middle of the final shootout. Cosme links at the top of the chat. Ha! Peter McNeil-Fu. Oh, here we go. Now the townspeople join in. That guy finally goes down. Yes, they have.
Please. I can only count to six. I can only count to six.
I think you're all starting to take this a little personal. I don't think that's necessary. Just saying. Okay. Mm, okay. He's not surrendering, boss.
There goes one coward.
That guy will eventually return on any Sci-Fi Channel movie for the next 10 years. Oh, this poor bastard.
Oh, wait, I forgot one. Vince didn't get too far. Time to elect a new sheriff. Yeah. Yeah. The sheriff is gone. All their deputies are gone. The mayor's gone. Yeah. Time to basically pick a whole new town government here. I got a few fellas here in mind. We got a town doctor here who could maybe double up as something. We got another guy who seems to be pretty good with the shooting irons, and yeah. Got an older fella considering buying a saloon.
Yep. Ken always seemed to have some type of grudge.
Yeah. Hey, y'all stop staring. Clear off. Hey. Or the postman. Sorry.
All right. That was Open Range.
Yep. You may consult the scrolls if you like.
All right. Open Range was released August 15th, 2003. At an estimated budget of $22 million. Going on to gross $68 million worldwide. It was the winner of the Bronze Wrangler for Theatrical Motion Picture at the Western Heritage Awards. Was nominated for a Taurus World Stunt Award. Best overall stunt by a stuntman. Chad Camilleri is the stuntman who is shot from behind and is ratcheted into an adjacent wall, hitting the wall, and landing on the ground. Annette Bening was nominated supporting actress at the Golden Satellite Awards. Nominated for Best Sound Editing at the Motion Picture Sound Editors USA. Diego Luna was nominated at the MTV Movie Awards Mexico edition for, and I quote, Best Diego Luna in a Movie. Leave to MTV. And was nominated at the Golden Schmoes Awards for the best line of the year. Men are going to get killed here today, and I'm going to kill them. All right. Filming took place in Calgary, Longview, Morley, in Stoney Indian Reservation, all in Alberta, Canada. All right, and on to the trivia. Producers Kevin Costner, Jake Eberts, and David Valdez put up almost half of the budget from their own money. Teague was not only the name of the dog in the movie, but also the name of Kevin Costner's production company. Teague was also the name of Kevin Costner's grandmother. Kevin Costner turned down the role of Bill in Kill Bill to do this movie. When we first see Denton Baxter in Marshall Pohl's office, there's a wanted poster over his left shoulder with the name of Lloyd Buckley, which was the same name as the production designer on the film. Michael Kamen replaced Basil Podouris as composer, and contrary to general knowledge, Podouris did not do a score, backing out after having seen the movie Temp track with music like his work from Starship Troopers. The rifle that Charlie uses in the shootout is an 1873 Winchester sporting rifle. Originally, Touchstone Pictures had Kevin Costner top billed over Robert Duvall, but Costner asked the studio to top bill Duvall instead.
Towards the end of production, Costner and some friends made a surprise visit to a large powwow gathering at Morley. Chief Ernest Wesley honored Costner for his work with the Lakota Indians and using the Sioux language in Dances with Wolves. Stony elder Dale House performed a special spiritual ceremony for Costner before the filming began. The event is shown on the second Open Range DVD disc. Clayton Left Hand of the Stony Nakota Sioux worked as a film liaison. During filming A Young Native Man, Romeo N. Ryder was hired to do extra security work. He was stabbed to death in a nearby town site of Morley, August 20th, 2002. His brother, Zach Ryder, worked on the set as a production trainee. Boss keeps calling Percy old man, but Robert Duvall was 21 years older than Michael Jeter, who was only 50 at the time the movie was made. On the DVD release, a deleted scene called Moses' Story. This is only a rough cut, and it reveals that in some scenes, beautiful sky and clouds were chroma keyed into the shot. This rough edit, no attempt has been made to track the sky with the camera moves, and the effect is obvious. Despite the fact that this was filmed in Super 35, filmed in Panavision is listed at the end of the credits. At only 2 hours and 19 minutes, this is the shortest of the 3 movies Kevin Costner self-directed. They averaged 3 hours each. The hefty revolver favored by Boss Spearman is a model 1875 Remington Army. As revealed during his appearance on the Arsenio Hall show, Sir Anthony Hopkins wrote fan letters to Costner and Duvall after watching the movie, complimenting them both on their performances. Towards the end of the movie, when Sue uses Charlie's full name, Charles Postlewaite, Charlie calls Boss Bucket Mouth, the same thing Kevin Costner called his father, played by Ralph Waite, in The Bodyguard, when his father is sharing stories from Costner's childhood. Now, cinematographer J. Michael Morrow was handpicked by Kevin Costner. He took a chance on Morrow after he worked as a cameraman on Dances with Wolves. James Russo and Kevin Costner both appeared in The Postman. Dean McDermott got the part of Dark Barlow because he was the only actor to audition with a limp. Robert Duvall was the only actor that Kevin Costner had in mind for the role of Boss Spearman. He said if Duvall had turned the part down, he might not have made the movie at all. Tig, Charlie's dog, was played by a mixed breed terrier named Chester. The dog Charlie rescued from floodwaters was actually played by 2 terrier mixes named Goldie and Boomer. They used 2 dogs so they wouldn't get too tired or cold from doing multiple takes. Cliff Saunders, who played Ralph, thrilled Kevin Costner with a videotaped audition. Even before it was over, Costner said he got the part. Production spent over $1 million to build a Canadian town from scratch, since Kevin Costner didn't like any of them. The script doesn't specify where the story takes place, but Kevin Costner insisted on finding landscapes where you couldn't see a fence, road, or another person. Kevin Costner found the location while riding on his horse one day between filming. Even though this is an American Western, the whole score was recorded in Prague by an orchestra that mostly couldn't speak English. Costner said that, Kevin Costner said that Michael Jeter reminded him of Western character actors like Walter Brennan and Ward Bond. Costner takes a prop from every movie on which he works to remember it. For this one, he kept a bottle of chloroform. Screenwriter Craig Storper wanted to make a movie about, quote, the evolution of violence in the West. Annette Bening called her character Sue a woman of real substance and simplicity. Robert Duvall has a lot of respect for Kevin Costner. He's a big fan of Dances with Wolves and was impressed that Costner gave him top billing. Costner really loved the country's filling up line. In the 1880s, the U.S. population had grown to over 50 million people. In a scene cut from the movie, Charlie had already killed one injured man. Yeah, the guy who shot the alley, in the original script, he doesn't die straight away. Charlie finishes him off, and they cut that out. Yeah. Mostly because they were trying real hard to get the movie a PG-13 rating. But it's still got an R anyway. Robert Duvall accepted the role of Boss Spearman within 24 hours of reading the script. Robert Duvall got bucked off a horse and broke 6 ribs while practicing his riding for this role. Ouch. Yeah. The location was so far from civilization that they had to spend $40,000 to build a road just to get there.
Gee, damn.
A lone tree was planted by the crew so the audience would remember a certain spot later. Okay. Night scenes were difficult to shoot because the sun rose only after 5 hours of darkness. No animals were harmed during the movie. And wouldn't think they would have. Well, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
The dog is fine, folks. The dog is fine. To create the flood, the crew pumped 32,000 gallons of water down the street every minute. A massive holding tank at the bottom recycled the water back to the top through underground pipes. The idea for Marshall Poole playing the violin was proposed by an actor auditioning for the movie. Hunting horses were used throughout the shootout because they weren't afraid of gunfire. Cinematographer J. Michael Moreau said that it gave the movie a documentary feel, like you were there. Costner was excited that Duvall improvised some of his dialogue. It's easier if you feel like the words you're saying are going to live on forever. Professional wranglers handled 225 head of cattle on the set. Costner was thrilled with the costumes for the movie. He says they captured the time without being flashy. Annette Bening had to wear a corset the whole time she was in character. The filmmakers were disappointed that this movie earned an R rating. Kevin Costner speculates it was because the violence in the movie is, quote, original. Yeah, it's not overly gory. You can tell they were trying to, not go overboard with it.
Yeah.
But I can kind of see why, though. I get it. This is the Old West, but the filmmakers mocked up the fight with the computer-generated models. It's highly choreographed. Costner even called it a ballet. One part of the shootout was shot in slow motion. Costner tried to avoid slow motion because it took away from the realism of the battle. Costner intentionally filmed the gunfight in giant wide shots. The dog's name is Teague. Kim Coates played a character named Teague on Sons of Anarchy. Everybody cannot be named Teague. It's time to let it go. All right. Robert Duvall spent 13 weeks filming this movie in Alberta, but apparently the experience was not to his liking. He says, I prefer not to work in Canada, the 72-year-old actor said. I prefer to work in my own country. There are better actors down there. That's why they have to import so many actors for their Canadian productions. He insisted his next feature, Secondhand Lions, be shot in Texas. I said I wasn't interested in shooting it in Canada. Duvall later apologized for his remarks, saying in 2007, I just want to say to you guys that I told people in Canada that I eat my words when I said there are no good actors in Canada. After I worked there, I retracted what I said because we found wonderful actors. Kim Coates and Michael Jeter both appeared in Waterworld with Kevin Costner. Charlie served in the Civil War, for which side is left deliberately ambiguous. From what he explains to Spearman, he was a guerrilla operating behind enemy lines, killing soldiers and those, quote, without uniforms. While this could be seen as murdering civilians, it could also mean targeting other guerrillas who normally did not wear uniforms. Yeah, that's true too. This was Michael Jeter's final live-action film performance, although his final film was The Polar Express, which he was working on at the time of his death. All right. In a 2003 interview with Jimmy Carter, Kevin Costner explained his reasoning behind the deliberate pacing of the film. Not to make it slow, but to pace it a little bit differently. I don't want something to be slow. I don't want to go to the theater and be bored. Pace can be as important to a movie as what's said as what the people are looking like. It is a really important thing. What happens is the movie starts to pick up. It's really equivalent to the first 100 pages of a novel. We've all probably exchanged looks with somebody and you try to explain it to them because you like the movie so much, you like the book so much, you go, look, the first 100 pages are a little slow, but then it really snaps in. I don't think there's any one of us that haven't actually said that to somebody. Why do we say that? We say it in a protective way because we're saying, this book is really good, but don't let this part fool you. In a way, the movie probably wouldn't have been as good without those first 100 pages, or the book wouldn't have been. But don't let that fool you because you cannot put it down. That's because I think people have to be braver in movies and not always rushing to the end, letting us enjoy, because not that you don't like car crashes. Anybody likes it. It's not that you don't like action. Everybody likes action. You want to be in the middle of it somehow, and you don't want to be on the outside. On the DVD commentary, Kevin Costner remarked that he cast Abraham Ben-Ruby as his way of apologizing for his being cut from The Postman. The opening storm sets off a minor theme that Costner set throughout the film regarding certain sounds that startle you. It's thunder here and gunshots come later. At 4 minutes, Kevin Costner wanted cinematographer James Morrow to have his credit over the shot. That's a really pretty shot, but it didn't work out in the editing. Curiously, the on-screen credit at that moment is instead for editors Michael J. Duthie and Nicholas Wright. Costner met Morrow when the latter was a Steadicam operator on Field of Dreams in 1989. And I said, look, I'm going to make this movie, Dances with Wolves, and I'd like you to come along. Morrow repeated his Steadicam duties there, and when Open Range came along, he decided to give Morrow the opportunity of handling the cinematography. Kevin Costner said he wanted to capture the little things that are of interest to him, and that includes the details of setting up a camp. The valley from the film's opening was scouted by Costner from the air, and there were no roads in or out, which made for quite a haul during filming. Costner lamented not getting a certain shot, one showing Boston behind as he looks down over the horses. But it's so difficult to get those damn horses to stay on their marks. Every attempt left problems matching from one shot to the next. That's the big difference between making a cartoon and making a movie. At 8 minutes, the movie is probably never as happy after this particular moment, Costner said. I asked Michael Kamen to shamelessly hit this hard. I really wanted people to settle down with this movie, with this place, and let them absorb our rhythms of the time, Costner said, regarding the film's atypical pacing. At 6 minutes is one of Costner's favorite shots of the film, as Charlie Wade is approaching a horse with his hat in his hand. The first dialogue clue as to what Open Range is ultimately about comes with the line from Boss Spearman to Button when he says, "A man's trust is a valuable thing. You don't want to lose it for a handful of cards." Costner says it's about the kind of integrity that one needs to try to conduct himself with. 15 minutes, the profile shot of Boss was just to grab as Costner noticed Duvall standing against a light and asked him to approach a horse. Costner mentions, watching the film has him thinking about things he would do differently. But in the heat of the battle, trying to make the dates, trying to be on time, you make decisions under a certain amount of pressure. And I never, for the most part, leave anything that I'm not really happy with. He adds, it's probably a function in everyone's life thinking choices were the best made, thinking choices were the best, only to reflect on them later and wish more time was available. The horse Kevin Costner is riding is Baby, the same horse he rode in Wyatt Earp, 1984. Just a favorite little horse of mine. She just enjoyed the
94.
ride.
94. You said 84.
What? All right, 94. Whatever. At 10 minutes, Button originally mumbled, "Fuck." Everybody wanted to move away from that word, so they added an ADR line instead of him saying a much softer expletive. The scene never played quite as well, Costner said. Okay. Back to the Teague thing. All right, as we've established, dog's name is Tig. It's also the name of Costner's production company. It was named after his grandmother. He grew up thinking her name was Tig just because it was a nickname and not her real name, which was Lily. Coincidentally, Costner named his own daughter Lily before learning that truth. Costner tries to include Tig's name whenever he can in a film without it feeling forced. He even added it to The War in 1994 in the form of a verb when he mentions a character's hair being pulled straight up, taking it up. "There she is, there's our girl," Costner said on the commentary on the arrival of Annette Bening. She's Susan Hayward, she's Maureen O'Hara, she's Katharine Hepburn, she's Diane Keaton. She's all the great ones. And I obviously have missed saying some. So if you're watching this and you're a great actress, my hat is off to you and my apologies. On the commentary, Costner shouted out production designer Gay Buckley for fantastic work. On a minimal budget, she just found the right edge between minimalist and practicality. Seeing the doctor's house at the white picket fence, Costner talked about how while native peoples lived very light on the land, European settlers arrived and went the opposite way, creating roads, towns, buildings, fences. They marked their territory. It's a different mentality that came to this continent and altered it forever. "I love this actor," Costner says of Michael Jeter, who plays Percy. "Jeter sadly died before the film was released. He really comes out of the finest tradition of supporting actors. You could put him right in there with Walter Brennan or Ward Bond. If you know anything about movies, you know that John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart and Gary Cooper wouldn't act in a movie unless somebody like those kind of guys were in the movie, because they were so colorful and added so much to the movie and allowed Cooper and Stewart to play more laconic because they were actually doing this dance." Costner made the intentional choice not to include any Native American characters in this town and ultimately in the movie because he felt that this particular town, just what I'm saying, racist citizens wouldn't even allow a Native person to be walking the streets. It wasn't an omission. I don't think they're racist. Baxter maybe, but I don't know about anybody else. Whatever. Fucking Hollywood. All right. The scene with Boss and Sue Barlow talking about buttons sees Costner mention that sometimes when he's watching a scene, he finds himself caught up in strong performances. That's fine in general, but sometimes it happens when he's in the scene too, and he realizes later you can see him nodding in approval to the performances. Of course, I can't use that take. I think this is 95% what I wanted, Costner said, adding that he didn't think he could live with himself if it was closer to 60. Okay, let me see. There's quite a bit of these. Try and get through them as quickly as I can, folks. No one likes this kind of thing right here, Kevin Costner says about the reveal that Tig has been killed. I don't either. It's not easy for me, and thematically I've done this before in Dances with Wolves. This leads him to talk about test screenings with audiences leaving comments, saying what worked and what didn't, and would eventually leading to changes made in the film. I kind of disagree with that. I would prefer that you see what I want you to see out there, that you feel what I want you to feel. Test screenings for Dances with Wolves only saw negative comments about the deaths of the wolf and the horse, and the guy using the journal pages for toilet paper. Executives suggested they lose those 3 scenes and would then have a, quote, perfect movie. But Costner said no, because he's not an idiot. The movie changes right here, Costner said a half hour into the commentary, adding that for him, the first 100 pages of the book have just happened. His comparison to how people will often generalize the tough entry into a novel. The first 100 pages is groundwork that we don't always enjoy in a moment while waiting for something to happen. Says it's a battle he fights as a filmmaker sometimes too. Costner used the river and valley as geographical markings so audiences have a sense of space and where the various parties are located in relation to each other. Similarly, the tree 2805 was transplanted to that spot as a marker that always lets you know where you are when you see it. There's talk of adding a flashback scene at the beat where Charlie is asleep and possibly dreaming at the doctor's house, but I don't have very many flashback work in my film career. I have to learn to speak. I have to learn to speak. I'm sorry. Wow.
Well, let me get some. Let me take a sip here. There's a lot. Damn. Oh, okay.
All right.
Is that a wrap the scrolls?
Just about. There was talk of adding a flashback scene at the beat where Charlie is asleep and possibly dreaming in the doctor's house. I haven't very many flashbacks work in my film career. Costner adds that when he sees flashbacks, they're typically being used to cover up holes or issues in the film. Costner likes to keep 1 or 2 things for production. Yeah, he kept. Yeah, okay. He says not only did he keep the chloroform bottle, he kept the guns too. At 56 minutes, the man taking their plates is played by Herb Kohler, the hugely successful head of the Kohler Company. He and Costner were friends. Kohler died in 2022. It was part of a family who immigrated to this country, started a company, and carried it forward as an independently owned company known for opportunities it offered its employees. The line about Charlie and Boss not being able to fit their knuckle into the teacups came from Costner's memories of his father always talking about bare knuckle boxing and telling the young Kevin he might lose a knuckle if he reaches across the dinner table one more time. We had to decide where we were going to put our money, Costner said, adding that 2 of the big concerns were the town itself and the flood scene down its main street. The latter cost him over $300,000. One of the appeals of the script and film for Costner was seeing this window of time where these 2 cowboys actually talk to each other. They probably talked more with each other these last 3 or 4 days, given the circumstances, then they probably have 9 years of writing together. Circumstances forced it. In the scene where Charlie picks up the mud he tracked into Sue's house before noticing her in the mirror, says, "This is the movie sex scene," Costner said. Yeah. Close enough. At 34 minutes, Costner had to ADR himself because he had lost his voice over a week. Although the people listening to this DVD might not believe it because I never shut up. It's the result. One of the actors who auditioned for the role of Sheriff Poole bought a fiddle to play during the audition, and while Costner eventually went with James Russo for the role instead, he borrowed that character trait for the character. Costner mentions that he thinks the actor was Ted Demme, best known for directing 2001's Blow, but if so, Demme wouldn't have been able to take the role anyway, as he died of a heart attack in January of 2002, and filming began on open range in June of that year. Yeah, I remember Ted Demme. He was mostly a director, and he was Jonathan Demme's brother, and he also directed that movie The Wrath with Dennis Leary. Kevin Costner was surprised and disappointed that the film received an R rating. It didn't have any sexuality. It didn't have a language problem. I think they based it on a decision on our gunfight, which I think actually isn't even as violent as a lot of movies out there. Costner requested some of the buildings be placed very close together so that the space between them was minimal, which in turn made for more striking imagery as the bad guys came pouring through. And later, where Charlie hustles through, members of the crew made the choice of widening them, thinking they were doing him a favor, but he quickly corrected them. "I've always had a thing about reloading in movies," Costner says. He hates it when characters shoot off more shots than the gun actually holds. That said, he admits that the start of the shootout sees Charlie unload on a guy by fanning his revolver and firing more than 6 shots. Fanning is such a mythical part of the Western, and I hadn't seen it in such a long time that I had no way of justifying it other than hell's bells, I wanted to do it. "I'm a slow study as an actor," Costner says, adding that he's not that quick at learning his lines. He knew the last thing he'd want while directing the film, though, was worrying about his lines, so he made an effort to learn them all before filming began. Costner shared a few thoughts on screenwriting, including how his collaborations leave him unconcerned with who contributed which beat or added the best scenes. "The script is the priority, and to that end," he says, "focusing on writing the best screenplay and characters you can is important, as it increases the odds of you attracting the best acting talents in the world. That makes your job as a director so much easier." All right. There's a few more. I'll get through them quick. It was suggested to Costner that he should cut the scene after the fight with Sue going to the saloon to see Charlie, but this wasn't Costner's first rodeo as a director. Making a movie, there's a lot of people that can weigh in, and probably one of the hardest things you can do in American cinema today is figure out how to end your movie. Costner said there were potentially a few other points where the film could have ended, but I wanted to see those two together more than I wanted to imagine them together. One of the things Costner felt was important was to follow the Main Street shootout with a look at the aftermath. There are consequences for violence. Horses get killed, people are injured. The little girl with the father talking to her, there are psychological repercussions that come from violence. And while conventional wisdom is, come on, let's get on with it, I wanted to touch on it. The outhouse kill is a little homage to Clint Eastwood, and Kevin Costner mentions that the bit in Waterworld in 1995, where his character hangs off the boat and extends out his body, was a nod to the very acrobatic Burt Lancaster. Costner loved the beat where Boss shoots the bad guy through the wall with the blast, sending him several feet to hit another wall. It was very important for me to have him twitch when he hit the ground. Probably the best single kill I've ever seen in movies. Costner thinks one of the things that strikes viewers the most about Westerns is the music. Whether it's the Big Country or the Magnificent Seven, The great westerns have that great music, he stated. The big gunfight in the back end was filmed over several days to avoid continuity issues. They added digital clouds to the blue sky. At 1:20:54, Costner chides Duvall on his cranky ad lib, saying, "You're starting to enjoy that part, aren't you?" Costner said that the dog's death scene was hard for him because he's a great lover of animals, dogs in particular. This is the second movie in which Costner's character has killed Kim Coates' character, the first being Waterworld. All right, that's it. That's everything.
The skulls are close. We appreciate you being with us, Curtis and Connie, if you're still around, and whoever else is out there. We'll find some Western to play for next week. I don't know what's yet, but what you got going up? Anything later on this evening?
All right. In about an hour, you can catch me on my channel for Unscripted, which is episode 106. I'm going to be talking about the controversy surrounding the Andor series, reboots of television series from my childhood and what I think of them, and Revenge of the Sith doing well in the box office, making $30 million over the weekend. So I'm going to talk about that as well. And stay tuned. I'll be there's no reserved seats tonight. And Tuesday is live from Sparkwood and 21. I'm going to be joined by Trey Pacelli, Nutters Network, and Aged Boomer. And we are going to be rewatching and taking a deep dive into David Lynch's first movie, Eraserhead. So it's going to be a special extended edition of the show. No Blake 7 this week. And if all goes to plan, I will be on the panel for Last Call Members Night at the Movies tomorrow night at about 9 o'clock. And it looks like the film is going to be the original, and as far as I'm concerned, only Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh.
And Thursday, my show, Coming Attractions, at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 10:30 Central. That's what I got.
Wow, I didn't even know The Accountant 2 already came out. Oh. I didn't know that the Accountant 2 had came out in theaters already.
Yeah. I didn't get to that this week, unfortunately. That's going to have to be sometime later on in the week. And if I get it, if I see it, I will review it.
I still really want to go see Warfare. I really want to see that one.
Yeah,
that's to be good on the high seas. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Can't find it. Anyway, we'll have some action theater coming up later, either Thursday or Friday. I don't know which, or it might have to be postponed for a while. I have a lot of appointments, so anyway. Stay tuned, stay posted, and we'll keep you up to date on those. I don't know what's next for my channel right now. I'm also considering taking a break, but I don't know about a break. Anyway, just keep to the channel, stay posted. I'll keep it in community tab or post now. stay tuned and be on the lookout. Otherwise, that's all I got. I'd like to thank you all for coming. Big Al, Curtis Shelby, Connie Clary, CDiz Fact Search, the newbie, Clue Studio, Gorillas Censored Thoughts, Poe. It's always great to see you, Poe. Thanks for dropping by. And as I always say, be excellent to one another. Party on, and we can't wait to see you on the next one. All right, Dilly, back to you.
All right. And as I always say at the end of every show, thank you all once again for watching from HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night. Take care. Stay strong. Be safe and healthy, because this is how we win.